Hey guys, Cardboard Box Productions here. Anyway, welcome to my first double top 5. Anyway, one of the many important things for a developer to do when designing a game is to establish the tone they want the game to have. So today I have compiled a list of the 5 darkest and the 5 most lighthearted games I have ever played. Anyway, here are the rules. 1. Only games I've played, so no Katamari Damacy or Shadow of the Colossus. And 2, only one per franchise per list. Now with all that said, let's begin. Now, I know what you're thinking. But Bailey, Pikmin's a bright and colorful game. And aside from the forest navel, you'd be right. I'm not going to deny that. However, it's really when you take a look into the context when you see how dark of a game this actually is. Olimar has only 30 days to recover all his missing ship parts, otherwise he will literally die. The Pikmin themselves are risking their lives just to help him, even though they know they're weak, and Olimar is constantly missing his family and worried about whether or not he'll actually escape, which is a very realistic depiction of being stranded somewhere. I mean, I wouldn't know. I've never been stranded in an unfamiliar location before, but this probably is what someone would go through. Everyone needs vacations, even great heroes like Mario, and that's what Super Mario Sunshine is all about. Granted, all the main series and most of the spin-off Mario games are pretty happy, but I chose this one simply because of the fact that you're on a vacation. It has many relaxing locales such as a hotel on a really relaxing beach, a a windmill-fueled city and amusement park, all bright and happy and colorful, and the main conflict of the game is you having to make it an even better place because the evil Shadow Mario has apparently been messing it up. However, the reason this game isn't any higher is because of one reason. The difficulty is ridiculous. I don't know about you, but extreme difficulty doesn't exactly normally cause me to smile. But anyway, on to number 4. Speaking of Mario, any list about dark games that has Mario in it has this game. This is the darkest Mario's ever been, and if you ever try to deny it, then you have obviously not played it. Basically, the main conflict of the game is that the main villain, Count Black, wants to destroy all worlds out of Lauren misery. But that's a pretty dark story to begin with, but it doesn't stop there. His backstories with his loved one, I guess, are played out in just plain text. Chapter 6 perfectly demonstrates what'll happen if he succeeds, as the world's already ended there, and Chapter 8 perfectly demonstrates a castle that the world's coming to an end. All mixed in with emotionally touching subject matter and some disturbing elements thrown in for good measure. This is the darkest Mario has ever been. I strongly prefer cartoony art styles over realistic ones. I'll elaborate more on that in a future video, but for now the reason I brought it up is because Wario Land Shake It not only has a cartoony art style, but goes out of its way to make it look like you're playing a cartoon. The constant, I guess, cartooniness keeps the joy factor of the game up a lot. Uh, with colorful levels and creative level designs and some fairly easy gameplay, it keeps this game pretty happy and a solid number 4 on this list, and that is all I have to say. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Bailey, you already talked about Psychonauts in your longest countdown so far. Yes, I talked about how good the levels were. I didn't talk about how dark the game was. And admittedly, the beginning portions of this game aren't that bad. However, once you've beaten the brain tumbler experiment, the game gets pretty dark. Whispering Rock's an entirely different place at night where you have to avoid pyrokinetic cougars. Trust me, that's normal for this game. You have the main area to explore is an abandoned insane asylum, and the main villain's evil plan to take over the world in this game is to send a giant mutated mind-controlled lungfish to a summer camp to abduct psychic kids and then remove their brains and implant them in tanks to take over the world with. Now, before you scratch your head, keep in mind, this is Psychonauts. Probably the weirdest game ever. Well, at least weirdest game I've ever played, like I said in my countdown about it. So, this is kind of normal for this game's standards. Nintendo's attempt to give a gamepad tutorial in the form of a game for the Wii U paid off more than it did for Wii Sports. Instead of taking the route of just doing sports, they did the smart thing and based it off their iconic franchises. Kinda makes sense since the Wii U was trying to usher back in the hardcore crowd. Honestly, Nintendo Land should have came with the Wii U, but mini rant aside, this game is very fun. It's bright and colorful, you play as your Mii, happy music, you go around doing attractions, and you can tell that they're just attractions and you're not actually going into the game. Even games like Metroid Blast, the enemies don't look all that dangerous. Granted, you'll probably fail, but it's not like anyone could really get hurt with that. Also, one thing that really adds to this game's happiness factor is all the Mii's going around and you can see their posts. And they're actually, just stating their opinions on the games and just, funny stuff. And I was just astounded by this the first time I saw it. Maybe it's just me being used to YouTube's terrible comment community, but it just makes me think, why can't why can't YouTube's comment community be more like Nintendo Land's? Seriously now. Honestly, a game that's just about lighting things on fire had to make this list. Little Inferno, basically this is how the gameplay goes. Buy stuff, light it on fire, and then get money to buy more stuff, rinse and repeat. And yes, burning stuff. That's pretty much all you do in the game. Yeah, that would pretty much justify this spot alone, but there's more. You see, aside from that, this game actually has a story, believe it or not. Yes, with all the burning of things, there is a story, and it's actually a pretty dark one. Essentially, the reason you're doing this is A, it's a new toy and you're bored, but also B, there's basically been the opposite of global warming, global cooling. It's been snowing for years and it's nearing a second ice age, and the only reason you're using the Little Inferno and buying stuff that might actually be cool but immediately burning it is just to who keep warm. You get messages from people such as your neighbor Sugar Plumps, who's actually trapped inside her house, but you are also, and the Weatherman, who's been staying out for years, seeing how cold it is. So yeah, that's really all I have to say. Two Wii U launch titles that are of minigame collections and also based in an amusement park. What is this? Yes, that's a very, very interesting coincidence. But enough about the coincidence. Rabbids Land deserves to be on this list. It takes place in an amusement park, and unlike Nintendo Land, which it was kind of just more so the watered down version of all their games. This one really takes advantage of the amusement park aspect. All the mini games are based around it in some way, whether it be an attraction at the amusement park or even robbing the gift shop. The Rabbids' crazy antics once again had make this a happy game, but this game, well, actually, the antics aren't any happier in this game than they are most of the time, but this game is. The mini games are very fun. Granted, you have to unlock all of them, and that really stinks, but overall, very happy. When making this list, I had no doubt the cave would top the dark list. In fact, not only did I have no doubt that it would top the dark list, but it's the whole reason that I made this countdown. Yes, this game gave me the idea for this countdown, the dark list, and then I balanced it out with the happy list. Honestly, it just is. 7 people go into a cave, well technically only 3, because you can only choose 3, in search of what they desire most. However, all of them are terrible people. You see cave paintings and play out their character storyline levels to get a feel for their backstory, and all of them are terrible people. Especially is effective when playing their character storyline levels, because you actively do whatever the horrible thing is they did. Not to mention in the cave parts of the cave, you have to do bad things to other people as well. And I know what you're thinking, Bailey, you're not really showing a lot of footage. Well, that's because this is a very dark game, and I kinda sorta want to keep my family-friendly image here. So that's why. Anyway, yes, Cave is the darkest game I've ever played. No doubt about it. It by far, whatever other thing that means that you'll want to say. Anyway, yeah. As soon as I came up with the happy list, I knew Kirby's Epic Yarn was going to be #1. No, it didn't inspire me to create this entire countdown, but I did know from the start of the happy list that Kirby's Epic Yarn would top it. Anyway, the music, in terms of lightheartedness, no game surpasses it. Essentially, the music's all, cheery and stuff, not to mention, in case you haven't noticed by the footage, pretty much everything's been turned into stuff from a craft store. You can go around using your yarn powers to do a bunch of stuff to your environment in clever ways. They have level designs based off whatever world you're in, and overall, it's just a very happy game. And also, remember in the Super Mario Sunshine entry when I said that it doesn't really fit in with the lighthearted games criteria for being hard? This game is very easy. How easy, you may ask? Well, you literally can't die easy. Which was something that I actually like. Granted, I don't want every game to be like this, but it was nice for a change. And yeah, you will have trouble 100%ing this game. But anyway, yep, this is the most lighthearted game I have played. Anyway, I'm Cardboard Box Productions and saying goodbye.